DC native Dale Sutherland lived a double life. During the day, he was a youth pastor at his church. At night, he was putting his life on the line as an undercover narcotics police officer.
So I would be pastoring during the day, and then during the day I'd be in the office counseling, working. And then in the evening, I'd go to the police department and come in and, buy drugs and arrest bad guys.
The job required Dale to immerse himself in the dark, dangerous underworld of inner city crime. He found walking the line between duty and faith often challenging.
It was especially difficult for me to have both jobs and to walk with the Lord. I was a pimp for a while, and I was introduced as a pimp, so I had these girls around me all the time, and I would be able to try to convince guys to trust me because they could sell drugs to me because I was a pimp. I was in another kind of role. I was doing that, and I was at the same time preaching on holiness at church and trying to get people and trying to keep myself holy at the same time, which is always a challenge.
In his early 20s, Dale felt the call to minister to urban youth. However, growing in a Christian home within a safe and secure neighborhood, Dale didn't have much experience with life on the streets. So after a few years in Bible college, he enrolled in the Washington, D.C. Police Academy.
I wanted to be a policeman because I figured I could get to know the street, maybe understand people better, and I'd have a better testimony.
The plan was to work on the force for a few years, then move into full-time ministry. That would change. Shortly after graduating the police academy, Dale worked his first undercover case. Not only did it lead to an arrest, it gave Dale a new perspective on his work as an officer and his faith.
I constantly knew this was sin. It was ruining their life and the lives of others. And so there was a big picture thing here, and each individual mattered. So when I got a drug dealer, I was keeping him from hurting all the families and everything else that he was selling drugs to. So I saw it as related to my faith as well.
So he stayed with the force. In the coming years, Dale would arrest hundreds of criminals, and every so often he'd share the gospel with them. Then, in 1993, he and an informant showed up late to a drug deal.
One day, I think it was about our 7th purchase from these guys, I pulled up and we were supposed to meet about 45 minutes earlier. He got out of the car to go find the guys. And then after he got out of the car, they ended up killing him. We later found out, it's in the Washington Post, that they had planned to kill both of us had we been on time because they thought I was an informant as well. You realize the mortality and him and feeling terrible and wanting another chance to talk to him about the Lord.
Dale then decided he wasn't going to miss another opportunity to be sure that he shared the love of Christ.
I could control the body. I could put him in a cell block, but I couldn't change the heart. The truth is, whether it's a drug dealer, prostitute, a victim, a criminal, a murderer, I've met them all. I've talked to all of them for long periods of time. And the truth is they need Christ, and they are very open to the gospel if people would just talk to them.
While many he arrested would reject his message of hope, others would ultimately find faith in Jesus Christ. One was Javier, a former drug dealer.
I wanted to get out of there. God, I don't want to do this no more. I don't want to die selling drugs. And then after 3 months, I get arrested, and it's how I met Dale, this guy from narcotics. He started telling me about Jesus, and then everything in my life started changing. We got to be good friends, and we even do ministry together now.
After 12 years of working undercover, Dale would get the opportunity to become a full-time youth pastor. For 12 years, he balanced both jobs.
Wednesday night, I'd go speak at the youth group. And Wednesday, I'd make an arrest. And so I'd drive right over to church, and I'd tell them about the arrest, tell them how it relates to something hopefully in their life to help them understand the Word of God better.
After 22 years on the force, Dale retired. Today, he's an associate pastor at his local church in Washington, D.C., where he became known as the undercover pastor. He's also the founder of Code 3, a nonprofit organization that provides training and programs to police and citizens so they can work together to build safer, more connected communities. His goal of sharing the gospel remains the same.
I need to preach the gospel is what matters, is what really matters. The only thing that matters is that I can reach more people for Christ for eternity. So that's why now I say we used to lock people up, and now we're trying to set people free.